Hello people, in this video let us look at the stages of fracture healing. Basically what they are showing you here as stages is actually for the cortical bone, stages in fracture healing of cortical bone. So you have these stages of hematoma, formation of granulation tissue, callus, remodeling and modeling. Okay, so, can you tell the stages? Hematoma, first is the blood, right? Obviously you have had a fracture, first thing is the blood. Then granulation tissue, so the granulation tissue which wants to help you heal. Then comes your famous callus that you will see in the x-ray, etc., right? All those callus things, the white bone, right? So then remodeling and modeling. Remodeling, and then finally they're doing modeling in life, okay? They will remodel and then only they're becoming model. After, you would have put this other ways, right? You would have first put model and remodel. No, it's not like that. First remodeling and then modeling, okay? So basically this is for cortical bone. Stages of hematoma will be immediate, right? Less than 7 days. So basically, normally we will think that hematoma is a bad thing, right? A hematoma for me always sounds like a bad thing. But in this fracture healing, hematoma is actually good, okay? So this is a stage of healing, fracture healing, guys. Anyways, after that, look at the stage of granulation tissue. In this, you can see that some granulation tissue will be there, fibroblasts, osteoblasts, etc. So then, callus comes only after 1 month. Callus seems to come only after a month, guys. So mineralization will happen of this same granulation tissue. What is happening? Mineralization of this granulation tissue. Same granulation tissue is undergoing mineralization. So let me use a white here. So mineralization, white is not coming. Okay guys, so anyways, just understand that the same granulation tissue is becoming mineralized. So it has become callus, okay? Then, that is only after a month. Then remodeling. What is happening in remodeling? First remodeling, then only modeling in life. Remodeling, 1 to 2 years, okay? 1 to 2 years. Lamellar bone formation, okay? So, remodeling of whom is happening? Again, a callus is getting remodeled, okay? Who is getting remodeled? Callus. Can you say callus?
Callus.
Yeah, callus is getting remodeled, and then after many years, modeling happens. Okay, so it takes a long time to become a model. Modeling of endosteal and periosteal surfaces so that the fracture site becomes indistinguishable from the parent bone. So modeling. So just look at this stage of hematoma. It's the first stage, right? Here the blood leaks out. The local soft tissues are stripped. The periosteum and the local soft tissues are stripped from the fracture ends. Okay, this results in ischemic necrosis of the fracture ends. So some osteocytes die while others are sensitized and they respond. So these will differentiate into daughter cells, and these daughter cells can become anything that they want on earth, right? See here in the stage of in the stage of granulation tissue, they have explained here. Differentiation of daughter cells into vessels, fibroblasts, osteoblasts, etc. Daughters will grow a lot in life. They can become vessels, fibroblasts, osteoblasts, etc. So this fracture at this point is still mobile, okay? Then slowly the mineralization is happening of the granulation tissue. The callus you can see radiologically. And here this is no more mobile, okay? Now it is clinically united. Clinically you can call it as united, right? Callus will define whether it is united or not. Remodeling happens when there is bone formation. Now bone formation, lamellar bone formation because of the remodeling of this callus, and then after many years, you cannot know where the fracture site was. It becomes indistinguishable from the parent bone. The endosteal and periosteal surfaces are modeled, so you will not even know where it is, the fracture, okay? Stage of callus, guys. Formation of callus, also called as woven bone. Woven bone is a term used for callus, looks like, okay? So this remodeling, we told you what this callus itself will remodel, right? Lamellar bone, it will form, etc. we told you. This process of change is a multicellular unit based, where pockets of callus is replaced by pockets of lamellar bone. Callus becomes lamellar bone. Okay, this process is slow, it will take years. Stage of modeling, finally. Okay, stage of modeling, guys. So here it is trying to gain what? Strength. So the sharpening of cortices occur at endosteal and periosteal surfaces. So you cannot differentiate whether it is an old or a new fracture. No, that's not what they said. They said you cannot even distinguish it from the where the fracture happened. You cannot know, kind of a thing. Here they are showing you the periosteum. It's the covering of the bone, isn't it? Now what you saw was the cortical bone. The cortical bone you have seen. how it will heal. This cortical bone is actually very hard if you see. So how this will heal, you have understood. Now let us understand how the cancellous bone will heal. Where is the cancellous bone? Cancellous bone is here. Okay, this is the cancellous bone. It heals very easily, it looks like. Okay, this is the cancellous bone. At the end of the long bones, you have cancellous bones. But this is not the bone marrow. Okay, bone marrow is different. The medullary canal here contains the bone marrow. This is a different thing. Okay, cancellous bone is there only at the end of the long bones, which they have shown here, cancellous bone, etc. Okay. How do you think this cancellous bone heals, guys? Look at this. Healing of cancellous bone, it follows a different pattern. The bone is uniform, spongy texture. It has no medullary cavity. Remember, it doesn't have any bone marrow or anything. So there's a large area of contact between the trabeculae. So there's a large area of contact between the trabeculae. So this will help. Directly between the bony trabeculae, union will occur. Union occurs directly between the bony trabeculae. Okay, subsequent to hematoma and granulation tissue. See, same, first two steps are same. Hematoma, granulation tissue, mature osteoblasts lay down woven bone. This is again the callus, right? So this is the third step. In the intracellular matrix, and the two fragments unite. Kind of similar, okay, but they're saying it's a different pattern. So those were the stages of fracture healing, guys. So what are the stages? Hematoma, granulation tissue, callus, remodeling, and finally modeling. Okay. Look at this, fracture healing, there is primary and secondary. Primary fracture healing occurs where fracture hematoma has been disturbed. Is this a good thing? See, they're saying that if you have treated this fracture operatively and all, then you have disturbed the hematoma. If the hematoma is disturbed, then there is no callus formation. I kind of don't like this actually. Without callus formation, the bone heals directly. So there's therefore difficulty to re-evaluate from the x-rays. And secondary fracture healing occurs where the fracture hematoma is not disturbed. And this happens if you have not operated on it or something. So here there is callus formation which can be evaluated on x-rays. So you can sometimes operate on fractures without disturbing the fracture hematoma. Like when they put an intermedullary nail and all, right? They have not disturbed the fracture hematoma. That's looks like they don't want to disturb the hematoma. In this case, kind of hematoma is a good thing, okay? Look at this image here which is showing you the callus. Can you see here the white thing around the bone? So that is the callus, guys. Can you see in the arrow they have pointed out? Fracture of the tibial shaft showing callus formation. This looks like the left leg because this is the fibula on the lateral side. And here you can see the lateral x-ray. This is AP view, this is lateral view. So in this AP view, you can actually see the callus very nicely. So what and all you have learned till now? You have learned that primary healing occurs when there is hematoma is disturbed. Secondary fracture healing occurs when the hematoma is not disturbed. I kind of like this because that doctors also always try not to disturb the hematoma. They try to look for the callus, isn't it? So secondary fracture healing seems to be good, guys. Otherwise, whenever you see wound healing and all, no, you will always think primary intention is good. Here it's slightly opposite. Here now we are just look at something easy, okay? Fracture healing, what are the factors that affect age of the patient? In children, it will be unite faster. And because they will have more callus, they can make more callus, etc. Type of bone, if it is cortical bone, late, but cancellous bone unites faster. This also we told you. Pattern of fracture, if it is a spiral fracture, it will unite faster than an oblique fracture. Okay. Comminuted fracture means there are so many pieces, is it? So this heals slower. Disturbed pathoanatomy. So imagine you have some calcium deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, or any disturbed pathoanatomy. Anatomy they're talking about. So wait one second. So if there is a soft tissue interposition, some soft tissue has got trapped between these fragments, or there's some ischemia at the fracture ends. It's no blood supply means how will it heal, right? So if there's a damaged blood vessel, then blood supply, yeah, they're talking about this. Then reduction. So you should reduce. That means the fracture, if it is, you should align it. If you don't align it and leave the fracture, will it get united? See, look at this. This is the bone. And this is the other part of the bone. So they didn't reduce it. Reduction means they have to align this. Okay, they didn't reduce it. So if you don't reduce it, it will not heal, right? So a good opposition of the fracture results in faster union. So you should make sure that you should reduce the fracture. Then immobilization. Immobilization is not necessary it is not necessary to immobilize all fractures, like fracture of ribs, scapula and all, you don't need to immobilize. They'll heal anyway, it seems. Nice, no? These ribs and scapula. Interesting. So in CPR, what they do is they break the ribs. Sometimes the ribs can break in CPR. I'm thinking it's not that bad. Some fractures need immobilization, and that's like the neck of the femur, right? That needs immobilization and may still not heal. Okay. Fractures, open fractures, we see if an open fracture, it can get infected, etc. So there can be delayed union, etc. So again, that is a factor which affects the fracture healing. Compression at the fracture site, it enhances the rate of union in cancellous bone. Okay, in cortical bones, compression at the fracture site enhances rigidity of the fixation and possible results in primary bone healing. So when there is compression and it is touching each other, obviously there is no requirement of a callus to form and fill the gap, etc. So it can probably result in primary bone healing. Can you see the word here? Possibly. They're not even sure. Okay, so compression, just compression at the fracture site. You bring those two ends close together and it can probably lead to primary bone healing. So we have also looked at the factors of fracture healing. So what and all have you looked at in this stages of fracture healing? You saw hematoma, granulation tissue, callus, remodeling and modeling. Then you saw some things for cancellous bone, how it is different. Then you saw that there is primary fracture healing, which they don't like, and they actually seem to like the secondary fracture healing with the hematoma, callus, etc. And then we saw the factors which affect the fracture healing, age, reduction, immobilization, some blood vessel problems, soft tissue which can get trapped in between. Then what else did you see? Whether it's an open fracture or not, compression, right? Then pattern of the fracture, if it is spiral or oblique, right? Age of the patient, all this you have seen. There's some points here which I actually like. I do not think that it's an entrance exam point of view only, but otherwise it's really good. Look at this. How do you know bone is forming? So there will be specific alkaline phosphatase, bone-specific alkaline phosphatase in the serum, or you can detect osteocalcin, or you can see type 1 collagen, because type 1 collagen will form what? Bone, right? BONE1. So type 1 collagen, bone, right? ONE1. So type 1 collagen, bone. So if you can detect it in the serum, or you can detect bone-specific alkaline phosphatase or osteocalcin, these are markers of bone formation. If you know at what rate the mineralization is happening, you can determine it by labeled tetracycline. Anyways.